Hey, everybody, welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm hoping you guys can hear us. This is our second Lock Live. We are joining you from various parts of the country from League of Coalitions. Thank you for joining us. We are still dealing in the technical a little bit, so we thank you for your patience. But we are live, Lock Live. And if you joined us last time, we had a splash a couple of weeks ago talking about our She Won campaign. And we're going to be talking about that and so much more today. And I want to introduce my co-host.
Sorry, I'm having issues. I don't know what's going on. Just continue, Josh.
So what we are doing today, y'all, is just really reviewing what we're about. Welcome you here again. We are really wanting to blast our She Won campaign from the rafters, from the rooftops. We are League of Coalitions. And what League of Coalitions is, our definition is exactly in our name. It's defined. We are wanting to stand in league with everyone that is really saying the quiet part out loud, and that is that they've all got to go. This fascist authoritarian regime has to go now, and we believe that's the what, and we have the how. One of the few levers that we have here to change this. While we have time to change it, y'all, we are not coming into fascism. We are in fascism. We are in authoritarianism, and what we can do to change that is what we believe is the She Won of it all. That is the receipts that we're going to be talking about today with one of the election experts that has been dealing with the facts and figures, has been on the inside of Clark County, and we'll be talking about just that a little bit later. But Natalie, are you back with us?
Yeah. Okay.
So as you know, there are lots of things happening every single moment, every single hour that are dropping into our, not only our social feeds, but also in our news feeds. If you're still paying attention on mainstream media, many of us are not. That's why podcasts like this are necessary. But we want to talk about some hot topics today, some things that have rolled across the last 7 days and beyond, but really want to be relevant, really want to be active and a participating factor in this conversation. So what we got to do a couple of weeks ago was launch She Won into the protest space, into the atmosphere. And I was downtown Los Angeles and brought our big banner that you see behind us, and I really got big response from folks. We wore t-shirts. People wanted t-shirts. People wanted to know more information about what She Won was, what that means, because this is what we believe, is that we all really know. November the 6th, if you're watching this on November the 6th, and we all woke up thinking, did we just live through what we just lived through? And now we're to this result. Somehow within 5 hours, we knew the results. Every swing state went for one candidate, and hadn't since Reagan 40 years ago or 40 plus years ago. And then all of the wonder and the worry started up with all of us, I think. And so I was engaged kind of on the protest space way back in January and in December and January in DC, and then went back in March, and lots of stuff swirling about. But this whole She Won conversation has been creeping up, and now it's unavoidable, permeating now into the mainstream media. We're kind of on the inside of things in the conversation with folks that have been shouting the election truth. And what the election truth we are calling receipts. That's what it is. We're calling the election truth the receipts. What folks like Smart Elections or Election Truth Alliance can't say out loud, we can say out loud. That the facts and the data and the expertise and the statistics that have come through that are proving these things over and over again, the She Won of it all, y'all, are what we are platforming today. I wanted to show a couple of things that have concerned us in the hot topics realm.
Hi, Josh.
Hi, Christine.
I can't talk to you while you're up here, and I figured I'd jump in since Natalie's
Wonderful. Good.
And then I know you want some video, but I didn't know what video you wanted.
Everyone, Christine, will you introduce yourself since you're
Sorry.
also our special guest? Yeah.
I'm Christine, and I have worked with Josh, Democracy Jesus, for a while on all of this through either the ETA or the L.O.C. And we're all about trying to make sure our elections are free and secure. So I have a background in tech, website development, social media, things like that. Also a almost PhD in sociology later. But first,
Fantastic.
what did you need, Josh? Which video did you want?
So let's go with the downtown LA.
MacArthur? Is that the MacArthur
Yes,
Park video?
MacArthur
Okay,
Park.
great.
Let's look at it.
I'm operating the back. Well, I'm in the front. Here we go.
Thanks.
Mayor Bass, I need to get my phone and we're departing.
Aaron Bass?
Any comment, Mayor Bass?
Thank you.
Mayor Bass, any comment?
Yes, my comment is they need to leave, and they need to leave right now. They need to leave because this is unacceptable.
Who did you speak with?
Just wait and see.
Mayor Bass,
They will be leaving soon.
Mayor Bass, who did you speak with on the phone just now? Who did you speak with on the phone?
They had a custom.
Wow.
Well, I'm in Los Angeles, so I'm going to hold my tongue for just a minute and turn it over to Natalie and Christine. Get it over to y'all and tell me what you think about horses, the cavalry, not the cavalry, but the cavalry in downtown Los Angeles last Monday.
Yeah, it's just all terrible. It's all illegal, and it's all a display of fascism. LA is the test ground to make people scared to stay in their houses, to not speak out because they'll be afraid of being arrested or trampled or run over, because they had like military vehicles. I don't remember exactly which ones they were, but they were desert colored. So they're ones that they brought over from the Middle Eastern wars, Iraq and Afghanistan. The military is not allowed to be in a state without being asked. Your National Guard can be called up by your governor, but not by the president. The problem is he does these things knowing the courts will take a while to catch up. And in the meantime, he can get away with what he gets away with because he wants people scared. So he can do what he wants.
It's disgusting. That's the only word that I can use to describe what is happening here, and disheartening, right? Because just see.
Yeah, it's terrifying. It's almost like we're watching a script. Did we ever think that like livestock would be released with what looks like monsters riding on top of that? There were children downtown, from what I understand, playing or like summer camp, and those children were swept up, I guess, by their the folks that were leading or managing that summer camp, and just people outside. It was a Monday, so it wasn't super busy, I guess, but I'm just reminded that we're just living here for 16 years, that we are Los Angeles. And maybe to just be really real right now in the beginning of this is that y'all picked the wrong city. You picked the wrong ones. That we are, it's Los Angeles. And that covers a big stretch of geography here in SoCal, Los Angeles County and adjacent counties as well, that would call themselves part of LA and the LA culture, the LA community, the family here. ICE has come in with their theater, with their big bad guns, and now their big bag of horses. The horses are innocent. They don't know what but it is really just a show of force. It's serious, but then it's almost laughable because they're not realizing where they are. And if you watch the video and if you search that out, y'all, you'll see that people are just kind of taken off guard, but then people engage. Like, they're like, what are you guys doing here? Get the hell out of here. Stronger language than that. I'm sure we'll be using those words throughout this podcast and beyond. But the danger of it, the ridiculosity of it. But I was just telling myself, like, what are they, other than just showing putting a show of force out there, what is it really doing other than really using Los Angeles? And I will stand by this. Like they're using Los Angeles as the experiment. That's why I'm saying they picked the wrong town. Not that there's a right town, but they sure didn't pick the right one for this. We are on high alert. We are talking amongst ourselves and our own groups and our own coalitions, and there's a band of coalitions here in Los Angeles that are saying, what's next? How can we combat that? Peacefully, not combat like they are coming in combat. How can we address this peacefully? But it's really alarming. It's really, really, really unsettling. And so it's to live 10 miles away from it and see that on my television screen. It looked like they were filming a movie, but it was real. And it's not the right city. It's not the right time and the right place for this. So, I living here and seeing it and knowing that it's this nearby is startling, and
And also, so people don't think it's just Los Angeles. In Las Vegas, where I live, there was an impromptu protest during the No Kings Week, and the protesters were completely peaceful. There was no issues. I looked through all the video, but the police declared it an unlawful assembly and started using rubber bullets, tear gas, dogs, flashbangs, arresting people in the street, tackling people with cameras, so independent journalists. I've been here 20 years. I've never seen that happen, but one other time, one day, and that's when Trump was in office the last time, and he sent his people down here to try to put a smackdown on protesting. And Las Vegas is a different kind of place. If you've never lived here, it's more like a small town, even though there's 4 million of us now in just Clark County. No, it's 2.4 million, sorry, in Clark County. 3.4 million in the state. But we're like a small town. So when the people go out and protest, it's like, hey, let's take our signs out. We're going to go do this. And they followed all the rules and they followed all the laws and they stayed on the sidewalks and they didn't do anything to the police. And to see that level of just Gestapo-like tactics. They had like 100 of our sheriff's officers walking down Fremont, and a bunch of them ran and tackled 2 people with cameras. I've never seen that ever here. Found out that our SWAT team they use for terrorists, like it's a special SWAT team I'd never heard of before, but I saw their trucks and it had a Z on it. And I looked it up, and it's called the Zebra SWAT team. And the Zebra SWAT team here is for terrorists, and they were there too. And they just surrounded in front of all these protesters. There's one guy with a flag standing there, but he was still 50 feet or 75 feet from them. The rest of the people were just standing there. They weren't moving. They weren't aggressing. They were cheering or, chanting, but that was it. And to see that level here was incredibly shocking because it doesn't happen here. Generally, when we protest, our police have been very friendly with us, have helped us protect us from Proud Boys and 3%ers who come down with the guns on the hip and the cameras on their heads and try to get into fights. And so we have never had a problem before. And then that Saturday, we had the Kings protest, and they lined up in the street with the zip ties on their waist to let you know they could arrest you. And then they had a team ready to rush the crowd, and they had them on both sides of the street. We don't normally have a lot of protesters in Vegas. It takes a lot to get people out, 24-hour schedules. It's really hard. And it was a 105-degree day. We had 8,000 people come, which is the second largest one I've seen in Vegas in the 20 years I've been here. And they told the downtown restaurants to board up their buildings because the protesters would attack them. We were eating dinner and we were left and said, "Why is everything boarded up?" And they're like, "Protesters." And we're like, I wanted to say, they've been protesting down there at that government building for 20 years. Definitely the last 10, a whole lot. You've never had a problem. So the police actually were creating a problem, although we think it was the governor more than the police themselves. Just because I know people know the sheriff, and so this is not his normal methods of doing things. But it was just shocking because you don't expect to see that here, because there's nothing violent that happens here at a protest. Like there's nobody comes. We don't have agitators. The agitators come and try to fight us, but they're very obvious. You can tell they're 3%ers and Proud Boys. So and they're always small numbers. Usually less than 30 of them. So it's just very shocking here. So I just want people to know it's happened other places too, not just the biggest cities, but also smaller cities, Las Vegas. Yeah.
Wow. Let's go to the next clip.
Georgia, how do you cast your vote?
bet y'all didn't expect that, right? So we were dropping some stuff in here because this is really what we are undergirding or supporting. It's evidence for the She Won campaign. When you see that, how does that? I know it makes me feel that what we lived through, what we saw, what we experienced, and then when we got to November the 6th, like our
experienced, and then when we got to November the 6th, like
sorry, I've got a little echo. What that reminds us of, that we lived through it, and that's evidence there, because the amazement of it all, right? I guess. I'm sorry, I'm getting an echo. Are you getting an echo, y'all?
Yeah, something's feeding back, but I don't know what. Someone's got an extra window open or something.
Maybe we got it.
Okay, cool.
No.
Still echoing?
So anyway, what does that do to you guys when you see it? When you watch that panel? What's the immediate emoji? What's the emoticon that emerges and your, I guess, this keyboard up here? Like, what does that do? What does that say to you?
Natalie, do you want to go first?
You just jump in.
Yeah.
There's no.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is how ghetto this is. I have to listen to Josh on here. And I'm going to speak through here because I can't hear Josh. That's weird. I don't know. So yes, that video just shows you what we felt and how real it was. And it's just a reminder to everybody that you're not crazy. You felt it. It was real. And we were all a part of this joyful movement that just brought everybody together. And it gave us this sense of hope and this, I don't know, this incredible feeling that I want back. Okay. I want the feeling back. I want the joy back. I want the America that we voted for. And that's why I got my shirt on. Show everybody my shirt.
I love it.
Yeah.
Madam President. Okay.
That's great.
Yeah.
So,
go ahead.
Okay. No, I was just going to say, so I worked everything in the election. I had to get out the vote. I went to college campuses. Me and my friend did. Went to college campuses, we signed people up to vote. Went to high schools and got them registered to vote. We went to door knocking, ballot carrying. We went out and did rallies. We went down to Pride with, band cards and things to get with QR codes so people could check their registration. Though, if you want to know where everyone's registered, it's a Pride event. Like, there are very few people there that weren't already registered to vote. Yeah. But so we did all that. We went into bathrooms and we left stickers. We did like everything we could to get the word out, right? We went to all the events. And I worked the last day of early voting in Clark County all day, and I worked general election all day as the ACLU election protection, which is a nonpartisan person to make sure the election goes off right, goes off okay. And I can tell you, I've worked at 3 major elections now, 2 of the smaller elections, midterms. I didn't see much Trump stuff anywhere. I didn't see. We saw one neighborhood that had Trump stuff. We did, like, before 2000, like in 2016, it was everywhere. We saw it on trucks. We saw it on, houses. We saw it on buildings. We saw it everywhere. But this year, last year, we didn't see it many places at all. A couple little pockets here. And the election line, I didn't have many people that I knew were Trump supporters. I had a lot of people that wanted to talk to me about Harris. You can't talk about candidates when you're an ACLU person. So I just said, I can't talk about that. But they're like, yeah, but she's going to win, right? And, so they were really excited about Harris in our area. And Clark County is 70 to 80% of the vote in Nevada, and we lean left. Usually by 100,000 votes. It's hard to tell this time because a lot of people came in during the pandemic and they had them register nonpartisan. But still, Democrats had the voting advantage, voter registration advantage. So when it came out, before I even left the election place, right, on that night that he had won, I was just shocked because that doesn't normally happen that fast. I've worked elections every time. And there was no momentum here. She filled, okay, so Las Vegas is not a very political town. We have people from all over the world here. You could probably find someone from every country here. We do a lot of refugees. We have a lot of people that come from just other places. I go to a store here and I'll hear no English spoken. I'll hear Spanish, Italian, German. I love it. I'm just like, oh, all these awesome languages, right?
Yeah.
So, but most people don't have time here. It's a working class community. They don't have a lot of time to go to protests. They don't have a lot of time to go to rallies. She filled Allegiant Stadium, which I think is a total of 38,000, let's say 30,000 seats with her being on the podium and everything, and the overflow, and the rest of the people had to leave. Obama didn't even fill out that a crowd like that. He came close, but he didn't fill out a crowd that large. So for all those people here to like take off and go to see her speak, that is a big political statement on the state of this state, on which way we're going to go. Trump didn't have that kind of turnout at this election stuff, his campaign stuff. Sorry, bad choice of words today. I'm tired. So I was just shocked. I just like my gut just went, something's wrong. Because I was there. I knocked the doors. I cured the ballots. I was everywhere, and his presence was not. And so it didn't make sense to me. And so we were so excited going into the election because we were so sure that she was going to win. Everything we were seeing here is indicative of how the swing states are going to go, because we were red about 10 years ago. Now we're blue. But yeah, I was just shocked, just totally shocked. I went home just totally, I don't even know if depressed is the right word, like just totally gutted, as they say in the UK. My friends say they're just totally gutted.
Yeah. One of our folks watching, thank you guys for watching, is asking a very relevant question, and we were going to get to all of this. We're kind of mixing up our schedule right now because of the technical, but how can we push the movement and get a little more aggressive with it? Jordex, and thank you for that question. So you can jump over and use she-one.com. Just jump over to our website, which will take you to League of Coalitions, and we have got a toolkit on there. Natalie, can you tell us about the toolkit? And she's probably not being able to hear me.
Natalie, can you tell him? I'll repeat whatever Josh says. Natalie, can you tell him about
my interpreter?
Yes, thank you. That helps. The toolkit it's a little bit kind of similar to ETA's toolkit. With kind of already templates set up so you can reach out to your representatives and board of elections and stuff like that. So it's already kind of set up for you to just, especially if you're in those specific swing states, for sure, put like 6 of them up there. If you're in one of those states and you can just, push out the letter to let them know, because it is our right to know what happened, right? We should be able to know, especially in the state of Pennsylvania where I'm at. We have the right to know law, so we can push for that. All right, so I'm going to do a little bit more research on that to try to figure that out. But it's a mixture. So if you want to join the She Won movement, everything is already on the website. There's different tabs that you can click on. Hopefully soon we will be able to set up a Zoom call for all the people that already did sign up, who do want to get more involved. But it's pretty much, it's like a mixture. Half of it is getting out the audit. We're pushing for these audits. We're pushing for answers. And now it's not really, on our side, it's a little bit more of a demand. It's like, no, we want this. We deserve to know. We want transparency. And the thing is that people on both sides, it doesn't matter your affiliation, right? Everyone has been questioning elections for years now. And we all just want to know. And it's been told to us for a long time that these systems are not secure, even by experts. So it's like, we're not making this up. We're not lying. We're not pushing for something. Not only did we already know with the sinking feeling that she won, then the data came out, right? And we have both of those things together. So you can sign up for your She Won toolkit. especially if you want to become a leader in your city or state. So all of that is already on the website. And if you need more help with anything or anything, just send us an email, either at info at legalcoalitions.com or she won at legal coalition. I'm sorry, not com. She won at legalcoalitions.us or info at legalcoalitions.us. You can let us know and we can walk you through everything.
So, what about now? Hear me now, Natalie? No?
Can you hear him now?
No, can't. So sorry.
No.
Well, so
It's okay.
there's just go with it. Yeah, we'll practice that later. So what we have on the website, you guys, is lots of different resources. We have got to take this very important voice, this voice that we've been talking about, in our own. Really, it's been an inside voice. But when we say inside voice, that's our socials, our platforms, every form of social media that we're on. And if you have been paying attention and it's in your algorithm, okay, right, like ours, you have been seeing pretty much every other, scroll that I see are folks saying the quiet part out loud, which is that she won. That is our hashtag. That is our tagline. That is our theme. That is our support system. That's our line. It's been out there in many different, I would guess say mediums, like just posts, just content. In Substack, there's lots of folks that are saying it in their own protest fashion on their signs. We need those signs to be louder. On our website, we've got, or should have by now, our protest kind of in our toolkit that has the graphics that you can download or use on your socials, high-res stuff that you can print, putting those signs out there, bringing that to the next protest that you're involved with. Yes, it's something that's not been out there, and that's why we're saying this voice has to be platformed on the outside. This is the voice that has been underrepresented, y'all, and that's why it is important that we bring that to the protest space. There's a huge protest happening tomorrow, 7/17 across the nation. It is based around, guess what? Our hero, our voting hero, our legendary figure that was the voice, that continues to be the voice, John Lewis. Good Trouble Lives On is the name of the protest. And so bringing that to that protest, if you're the only one, that's okay. We've been the only one. But it has to be more than that. That's how we are wanting She Won folks to mobilize in your city and your locality, in your location. And we're going to have ways to help you with that if you visit she-1.com, which is really leagueofcoalitions.us. It just takes you there. She-1 is really easy to remember. And so we've equipped you that way. And so there's that. There's also, yes, right, the T-shirt. I think I've got a little slide about that here. And those are the styles that are available. You can, that says what we were gearing up for July the 4th, but of course that was our launch date. But they're available now on the website. It takes you right to the She Won store. They take a few days to get to you. They're $20. We try to keep them really inexpensive. Every bit of proceeds, y'all, every bit of that goes to this movement. We need to be able to mobilize. We need to be able to use resources, online things that or tools that cost money. We're starting from scratch here, and those are the things that those are the ways that we can advertise. Your T-shirt is this. Let me tell you this. The T-shirt is this. It's a conversation starter. People will wonder what that's about, and you can say, hey, there are receipts. League of Coalitions is the organization that has been platforming this. We really are the ones that are saying this out loud, and that's how we are saying it, in T-shirts, in your social media. And we have to, I don't want to tell you what to do, but we have to band together and make this conversation normal. We have the word of the week, the $25,000 word, really the word of the century, you all, is normalize. We have to normalize these conversations and bring that to our dinner conversations, to our friends, the people that don't want to hear it. We have to say it out loud. So that's how we are hoping to do that. Thank you for that question. But just we're trying to provide the resources on our website and then be able to meet face to face. And we're going to organize a Zoom call here in the near future with folks that are wanting to be involved, and folks have reached out in the join the movement space. And that's how we are doing it. Yes, she absolutely won. She absolutely won. And they normalizing that. And I can tell you my quick story and then I want to move on. But like the first, if you guys remember when 5051 did the 50 states, 50 protests, like every capital and then every city, that was really the first thing. It was February the 5th, which was like just over 2 weeks after the after the inauguration, which seems so much longer ago than it really is. But I brought my She Won sign. I think I've got it over here sitting on my mantle. With me to that protest and everyone. I brought it to No Kings. I brought it to Hands Off and everything in between. And really, I saw the difference, you guys, when on the 14th of June, when it was the No Kings rally, and I went to 2 of them here in Southern California and Los Angeles, and people, the difference then was that people were like, oh yeah, I see you. Oh yeah, she won. We're saying it out loud now. It's in our conversation. It's in our atmosphere. It's in our circles of influence. We just have to platform it, and we don't have all the time in the world. That's the thing. We're not playing with the old rules. There really are no rules, y'all. The old rules don't apply here, meaning that they have changed everything. And what frustrates us here, we can have this conversation now if you want to about the Democrats, that what frustrates us so much here, more than frustrates, I think infuriates and enrages and outrages us here in this space, while we were saying the quiet part out loud, is that these Democrats, y'all, they're not coming. They have proven what they are not going to do, and that's why we have to be the ones, we the people. The truest definition of democracy is that we the people, and we the people are being like, hey, our vote was not only compromised, was not only manipulated, but it was stolen. Let that sit in your inside. I say my spirit, let that sit inside you for just a minute, that what your belonging, your right, your fundamental privilege as an American citizen was taken, was stolen, was manipulated. And that, that in and of itself, they took something from you. And the rightful winner here, if you just put it in, like, think about the Super Bowl for a minute. Think about that. What would be the reaction, y'all, if who was it? Don't kill me here. Chiefs, right? And who were the other ones? Hoodie, tell me, because they were from your state. Yeah. Eagles.
I'm not good with sports.
Eagles, right? Think if one of those, if the Chiefs really won, or we found out that someone was messing with the wiring in the scoreboard or something like that. Think of what would be happening in the streets there. Let's get that same passion here. We've got to normalize this, and the rightful winner, as we sit here today, and I open this up, and I will be, if any kind of platform that League of Coalitions will be forward-facing, whether being interviewed or going on any kind of news show or platform or just coalition to coalition, I open it up by saying, well, let's just get this out in the open. Kamala Harris is our president. Kamala Devi Harris it wears the crown, meaning like she takes the trophy. She is the rightful winner. Because we said so, right? It's our vote. And she won not by just a little bit, by a lot. And I think that's a good segue into like what we're going to share with Christine. But I just want to give the guys here some space to speak in that, because I know they are, and speak to that. And you can speak to it in the chat too, and we'll bring it up here and put it in the banner.
Do you want me to get started?
Go ahead, or Hoodie, if you want to comment on that too, and then we can segue into Christine, if that's okay with our data expert, also Christine, y'all, who's been playing double duty for us today. So yeah.
Oh yeah, give me one moment. Definitely piggybacking off what you said, Josh. This is very important because I shared this with you privately, but this devastated me. Like, I was completely broken, and mind you, it was my birthday the day after. So it was not a very good birthday, guys.
Yeah.
I planned on throwing a big bash and celebrating, right, with along with everyone else, and um, then you know, then that happened. So it just broke me, and I know that it broke a lot of other people. My spirit, was I, I was hurt. I was really hurt, and then um, I heard her concession speech, and then I was like, I thought about everything, and then I started messing with the numbers. I'm not a mathematician or none of that, but I knew something wasn't right, and then I started digging into it, and then I found ETA, and then here we are.
Yeah. And yeah, it's a beautiful story. Like we've been cheerleaders of ETA, I could say, and have collaborated with them from the very get. They are nonpartisan organization. We are not. We are the. I put it like this, y'all. Like ETA are they're the nonpartisan, the fact finders, the experts, the scientists, the data people, the nerds, and I mean it in the I love nerds. I wish I could be more of a nerd. I say that, and the folks there that know me, I think take it in stride, and they know that I say it in love. But that's who ETA and also Smart Elections. We don't know them as well, but like we know that they have got the case in Rockland, which is rocking the nation. Really, that's what an appropriate first part of their name, rock. That case. We look at ourselves as like the people that can say what they can't. Their data is what we are calling receipts. It's as simple as that. We are taking the data, the numbers, and putting them in receipt form, which is like, what is a receipt? It's like what you pay for, what you vote for, and somehow what we voted for or what we paid for. You can look at it that way. Like we ordered the premium. We ordered that item. We put that on our down on our really receipt, but on the other side, that receipt did not add up. It doesn't add up, and so this is really about numbers and facts and using the data to really translate into the receipt. That's why we say we've got the receipts. And so I think that's a great way to bring in Christine. Christine, some folks might be joining us a little later, but if you wouldn't mind just introducing yourself again, you do a better job than I do, because I just know you on both sides of it. And you are just so talented and so gifted in so many ways, but then you have poured such passion into this, what we would call a movement. We call it the She Won, but like just the data part too, and the expertise that you bring to that.
Well, thank you. Hi, everybody. If you have any questions during this portion, just put a Q and your question, and we'll answer it later. Natalie, can you put the mic off on your second device? That's the feedback. I don't know if she can hear me. Anyway, yeah, it's feeding into your mic. That's why we're hearing the echo. Just the mic part. Yeah. So I'm going to bring up the presentation here. This is from some of this is from the ETA. A lot of it's from the ETA. I actually have worked in conjunction with the ETA for Clark County, Nevada. That's where I live. And because of all the stuff I did with the elections. So I'm going to go ahead and go through that in just a second. Okay. I'm hearing that feedback. It's hard because I'm hearing every time I speak. So there we go. I'm not hearing it anymore. Great. Okay, so this is League of Coalitions presenting the Clark County data from the Election Truth Alliance. I was working directly with them on this data, so I'm very familiar with it. Also on how Clark County works. A little bit about Clark County before we get into it. Clark County, Nevada is very unique in how the vote is run here. So when I first moved here, we had these horrible things called caucuses. Like we all met in a room in the primary and you try to decide who's going to win. They're all predestined. You wait in that line for 2 hours. I thought it'd be fun, but it was terrible. So in around 2018, we changed everything about how we do elections here. So one of the things that we do, we call voting centers. So when I vote, I have a precinct assigned to my voting file, but I don't have to vote in a precinct. I can vote anywhere that they have a place to vote. And in the early elections, that means Albertson parking lot, that means the bank, that means at the mall, that means that the unions down at the hotels and casinos have places for workers to vote there. You have to be within 2 miles of a voting place. No one's allowed to live more than 2 miles from a voting place. We have early voting, which runs about, I think it's either 12 days or 14 days. And then we have a couple of days off, and then we go into the general election. We also have mail-in votes. You can register same day, and you can change your party same day when you go to register. If you have not been verified, like you don't have to show an ID any other time except the first time you register to vote. But if you don't have an ID, they'll give you a provisional ballot because they have to prove that you are who you are. So, but it's a pretty good election system down here. They're very careful to make it as easy as possible for people. They're also, if you've been to Las Vegas and you've seen it, you know, we all live right on top of each other. Like I'm from the East Coast. Most people have like an acre of land. Here, if you have a quarter of an acre, it's like a lot. So there aren't heavy pockets of blue and red. We kind of all intermix. But in the heaviest red part of the county, near where I live, it's still 52% Democrat. So it is a Democratic county. You'll hear people say it's not anymore because the Democrats only have like I think it's a 10 vote lead now. But again, the nonpartisans are bigger than both sides because when they all came during the pandemic, they were told to register as nonpartisan. So it's really hard to tell who's in that mix, although we know it's more Democrat than Republican. So this is the Clark County data, and this is just basically what we're going to go over real quick. There's basically elections, some anomalies, and some other states real quick. I'm going to, I assume, Josh, you can make these available to people so we don't have to go through like all the details on these slides. I'd rather not do that to people. So, but this is basically just outlining what we're looking at. This is the ETA. ETA is nonpartisan, nonprofit. And unfortunately, I am not Nathan. Nathan is so much better at this than I am. But if you look up Nathan Taylor, you can see all his videos on Roland Martin, Chris Titus, Mark Thompson show. And you know, he explains all this data, plus their new data as well. But basically, they're just using data analysis to see if the election had integrity or not. And by integrity, we just mean, was it free and fair or was it not? So it's just data analysis to see if that happened. So this is just how they analyze Clark and Washoe. We're not going to talk about Washoe today, but this is the county up here to the left. And that goes back. The Washoe County is the second largest county population-wise in Nevada, and it is also Democratic. So this whole area here, this big area here, is about 550,000 votes. We have 2.4 million here, and I forget how Washoe has, but it's close to 1 million, I think. So this is why these were the priorities. This is one of the first places that they audited because the ETA audited, because it was just an easy place to audit because we have tabulator data. So most places don't have tabulator data. What tabulator data is where the voting machine, what everyone voted, is reported by voting machine. So you can tell where the vote occurred and how the vote happened. This is Clark County early voting. So if you see here, this is 2024, and you'll notice that we have this over here. We're going to get into a little bit of a more detailed slide in a minute, but you'll see this is all intermixed over here. And each tabulator is, the green here is like the independents, the other third parties, which almost register nothing. The red is Republican, the blue is Democrat. You'll see sometimes the blue wins, sometimes the red wins, right? But over here, when we start to get here, it starts to thin out, and all of a sudden, only red wins, and the blue kind of crashes, and we don't see blue win anymore. This is Harris's vote in a Democratic county where there was a lot of enthusiasm for her. She filled Allegiant Stadium, about 30,000 people inside, plus overflow, and they had to turn away people. There were people who couldn't simply not get in. So she was definitely popular in this town. So if you look here, and I can't really blow it up, unfortunately, but if you see here this line, this is the 400th ballot counted by the tabulator. So this is the tabulator. This is the percentage of the vote by each dot, blue, red, and then the greens down here. And right here, we start to see the separation. We really actually see it in the data at the 300th mark. But you start to see this separate here. So we can see early voting in 2020 and 2024. We see a similar pattern, but it's at the 500th ballot count. What's really interesting is the ETA found a woman named Dr. Clarkson, and you can find the video on their site. She found in Kansas, she's a PhD statistician for the University of Kansas working on their NASA program. So pretty, accredited. She found the same thing in Kansas in 2016 at the 500th ballot. So we found it at the 500th ballot at the 2020 election. She found it at the 500th ballot at the 2016 election. She actually produced a paper on it and got it published in a peer-reviewed journal. So it's been like, I mean, you couldn't probably get more accredited than that on her research. So we found it very interesting that she found the same ballot turn. Again, most places don't have tabulator data, but the tabulator data allows you to see how the actually voting machines counted. It gets a little thinner here just because not as many tabulators take in this many votes. That isn't anything here, but we can see here the separation here and the separation here. Okay, and this is election day in Clark County, 2020-24. You can see the difference here. Notice how it's all intermixed, and it's all intermixed here. So, but red's kind of centered in the middle, and the blue's kind of on the outline winning, right, out here. So election day voting looks pretty normal. Mail-in voting looks exactly like this, but but unfortunately the early vote, we'll go back here, separates like this. There is no human pattern that could cause this. Again, remember, everyone can vote anywhere they want to. There's no heavy red or blue pockets. There's no demographics that can explain this. Also, it's a blue county, and 80% of the vote in Nevada happens here. So the fact that it suddenly splits to red and then blue crashes in this chart is very telling of non-human voting patterns. Now, without being able to compare it against the actual ballots, we can't say 100% sure this happened, they manipulated the vote. But what we can say is I believe the metric, and if I get it 1-0 off, I apologize, but I believe it was 0.0001% chance that these were human voting patterns on the earlier voting in Clark County. And if you just look at it, it's just really obvious. Why would Harris not win another one after 300th ballot counted on the tabulating machines? That just doesn't make sense. Like, it just doesn't make sense logically, not necessarily politically, but just logically. So we do this thing, there's a thing called binning here, and how does the algorithm work? How can we validate? So the statistical analysis shows us that it's likely not a human voting pattern, that there's no human behavior that would cause that. Human behavior causes what we see here. Everything's kind of overlapped. We have a mixture of percentages at the different tabulator machines, and you can see the blue here on the outlier is actually winning most of the tabulators. And that looks like that. It just does not look like that. Right? There's nothing that would explain early voting looking like this and election day looking normal. Also, the most of the votes in Clark County are counted during the early voting period. These are just some other ways people look at it. This is like voter distribution on the bell curve. So we really should see it hug around the center here. And she's to the left, which means she has less votes here. And then this is the leftward tail here. You see how it goes boom, 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 right? If we flipped this, you would see it's very similar to the scatter plot we just looked at. And this is also called the Russian tail. This is a method that Putin used to fix the vote in his elections in Russia. And you can, by the way, you can read all these later. And then there's binning analysis. So we can see here as things are binned, and bin just means we put them in like baskets of 100, right? We can see the same pattern here, right? Here, Harris is mostly winning. She doesn't win this one, but she's mostly winning. And then all of a sudden she drops off and he does like this. And if you remember the scatter plots we just looked at, this is just the scatter plot where the bars are all connected, right? So if people can tell here, why would he suddenly win every single red, like every tabulator by a lot? So we actually bin these numerically. He got, and they averaged them out a little bit. It was 60%, she got 40%, 60, 40, 60, 40, 60, 40, 60, 40, 60, 40, 10 times in the bins. A couple were like this, and then there was one big one at the end where he got a lot more than the 60, 40. but she doesn't win anything. Here is more normal. This is the normal side of that curve that we showed you on the scatter plot. And we can see red wins, blue, blue, then red wins a couple, and then it takes off from here. So if anyone has questions, please go ahead and put those in the chat because we'll talk about them after. This is Clark County and how it looks in the voting. So these don't match the number of Republican votes. So there's just all sorts of variables here that are a little difficult to quite understand, but basically it's just showing you like pockets. Like this is all a pocket that went plus, and this is all pockets that went minus, and there's nothing normal and natural about that. It should be intermixed. It shouldn't be the outside curve of the city, which you can get anywhere in Las Vegas within 30 to 35 minutes if there's no stoplight. So this is not a big geographical area. So it's like all these are red minuses. These are all blue pluses. And you can blow it up here and read a little more of the detail there. So this occurred at the tabulation level. So most of the voting research, I go to DEF CON every year and I go to the voting hacking village. Most of it's done on voting machines. So when they say like the election was so secure and that they can have hacked it, they're right. Voting machines are very difficult. There's not that they can't. There was a voting card hack that a researcher talked about and Snowden published right before the 2016 election, but it's still very difficult. You have to get the voting card into the system and it has to be used. So if you're going to try to hack an election, and I know a lot of hackers, I'm not one, but I know a lot of very well-known ones, they look for the simplest way to do something. So doing the voting machines, while it could happen, and it might have happened in some areas because they probably didn't use one method for everything, you can't easily just hack voting machines. Not all of them are connected to the internet. Starlink doesn't exist in all the counties where there was manipulation occurred. There's, like, because I know it's a popular belief. So you have to look for more simple ways. So like right before the election, there were software updates done called de minimis updates that don't get checked. They did them to the tabulators and the voting machines. And those were put into the system without being verified. Well, the problem, and 70% of the machines, tabulators and voting machines. The problem is when you do that, is it wouldn't take much code to create this kind of manipulation. It could be as simple as 5 lines, and it could delete itself. So without a forensic audit of the actual machines or a hand count of the actual ballots, it's really difficult to know if something occurred at that level. There's also some other theories I have, but I won't get into those because they're a little less substantiated. But the fact that the software was updated for the tabulators and the voting machines is concerning. So, and can you guys see me? Because my computer just went wacky.
Starting to glitch.
Yeah.
Oh, no, Elon is in here. Elon is in here.
Someone's interfering. Someone's interfering. My whole thing's starting to glitch.
We see the slide though. We see the slide too.
You can see the slide. Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Happens on my browser sometimes. Is it all white though now? Yeah, I'm gonna have to refresh. Sorry, guys.
That's okay.
It's still glitchy. I mean.
Yeah. I think so. And this is what we were going to share a little earlier, and I wanted to just go ahead and put this in now. Is what a clip from what Nathan from a couple of weeks ago, just the highlighting kind of the bigger picture here, and what Christine is pinpointing in Clark County is just a sampling, right, of the manipulation, compromise, whatever you want to call it, heist, theft of the vote in so many different ways and so many different facets of the election, the electorate, and coming to a city near you. So I'm just going to share this, what Nathan shared a couple of weeks ago, just kind of a bigger picture.
Significant momentum going into this election night. We will highlight on election night, there were over 200 bomb threats. This has not been seen before. And this is what kind of prompted the Election Truth Alliance to start diving deeper. Is we highlight not only was there 200 bomb threats, but they were focused around more populated counties, more liberal, more Democrat-based counties, and this raised some flags. And then we also are going to look at, how the swing states all shifted one way, and some of the equipment used that you may not be fully aware of. And then we'll talk about a little bit of other things. But we'll jump into a little bit of the hard facts for you. Pennsylvania alone had, I think, over 30 plus bomb threats on election. Significant momentum going into this election night. We will highlight on election night, there were over 200 bomb threats. This has not been seen before. And this is what kind of prompted the Election Truth Alliance to start.
So just, yeah, a little bit of a bigger picture from Nathan, just talking about Pennsylvania, all of the swing states, right? And all of the, everyone is affected, but of course the swing states are the most important factors in the decision of the election. And so we've got Christine back, but Christine, we just showed the clip of Nathan last time talking about Pennsylvania for just a moment in the bomb threat.
I saw
So,
that before I logged in. See, Nathan's so much better than me. My Chrome sometimes it just starts flickering and goes crazy. So hold on, let me see. Let me see where we were. We were pretty close to the end. So
yeah, and then we got a couple of questions too, Christine. So yeah.
Okay, cool. So yeah. So one of the big things that is being talked about right now is the drop-off vote, because the smart elections case in Rockland County, New York, first of all, the data there is just crazy. I've seen it all. So they didn't even put this in their case, but there are places where there are 0 votes for Harris and Gillibrand got 70%. Now, locally, they explain that by saying there's a Hasidic Jewish community and they probably didn't vote for Harris. There are about 44,000 of the 144,000 in the county. Still find it hard to believe that not a single person in that community would have voted for Harris when 70% voted for Gillibrand. But there are other areas that where they got affidavits where people said that they voted and they didn't count. And a lot of the third party votes are missing. So, but one of the things that they looked at is drop-off abnormalities. And this is when people vote only for the president or vote for the president, but in much greater quantities than they did the down ballot candidate. So what they're trying to say is people voted for all the Democrats, but then decided Trump. So like in North Carolina, and this is logic that I don't really buy into just for this fact. In North Carolina, one of the most gerrymandered states in the country, they had enough people come out to vote to offset the gerrymandering in all the congressional ballots, plus everything in the state. The only thing they lost were 2 minor seats and the ungerrymandered presidency, right? So how did one of the most gerrymandered states in the country outdo in the voting all the Republican seats except for the 2 tiny state seats, but somehow not have enough people that voted for Trump? So what some people will try to say is there was a drop off because they didn't want to vote for Harris, so they voted for Trump. I don't really buy that in a gerrymandered state like that people voted for all blue and then just decided to vote for Trump. That just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. But so that's what drop-off vote is. Also, the drop-off vote in the swing states is really high. So right here, the average is like 5.58% for Trump between him and the next candidate. It normally is 1% or less, right? So it is not, 5% is very high. And in some of the states, it's as high as 11%, the drop-off. In my state, let's just put it this way, Trump and his down ballot candidate had a 34,000 vote difference. 77,000 vote difference. Trump only votes with 34,000. We had 7 ballot initiatives, which included abortion, which was going to become constitutional. And so they're trying to say 77,000 people voted for Trump only, but didn't care about the abortion on the ballot, which is another anomaly, right? So here they're talking about drop-off votes. So this is a lot of what Nathan talks about if you go watch his videos, and he'll get very in-depth into the details here. I know we've been talking for a while, so I don't want to get too far into it. But if you look here, this is North Carolina. This is the 2020 presidential election. You'll see here that the drop-off votes, is red, bluish. It's all intermixed. Some are low, some are high, right here. Look here. This is 2024. They're all drop-off votes here, right? This is not, again, the biggest thing I can say is non-human patterns. This is human. It's chaotic, it's intermixed, right? Because humans aren't that simple. But here, it's perfect. It's just a perfect win for him and drop for her, right? So if we start adding all these anomalies together, we start to get into where the statistical evidence is pretty determinative, but unfortunately it's not causative, meaning we can't say it's 100% that they stole an election, but gosh, it sure does start to look at like it when you start to put all the data together, right? So we suspected vote manipulation at that 300th ballot count. It just flips. That's algorithmic. Something turned on and started stacking votes. We also think they deleted votes, so he didn't get too many. So it was like 60-40, not like 70-30, 80-20. It was just 60-40. Like that consistency on 10 bins is insane. 60-60, like when would you ever see that in a voting situation, right? And then multiple forms of analysis. These are the other things that they've talked about. You can go watch the videos that they have. Drop off and then out of it paper records is needed. Unfortunately, Pennsylvania declined to meet with Nathan about this after they did a petition and people made calls and all that. They just got the notice this week that they will not meet with them. And I find this, like, as just a person, just kind of insane that a group like the ETA, who has done data analysis, they have PhDs who are doing this, they've had it data reviewed by some of the best experts in the world, including Walter Mebane, who invented the e-forensics model for the USAID and is considered the father of election auditing, have confirmed the data for Pennsylvania and North Carolina that the ETA did, said it was in congruence with his analysis. That at this point, if they're offering to pay for the audit, why can't they just get an audit, right? Why can't someone check the hand ballots against the electronic vote when it really is very apparent something happened? Let's just say it was all just a freak accident of computers, right? We know it's not, but let's just say that we should know that. We should be able to test that. Not that anybody should just be able to walk up to the Secretary of State and go, I want to count the ballots. But they've done the work.
Because your ballot is your receipt. Your ballot's your receipt.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they've done the hard
Paper.
work, right? So the other thing we have to talk about briefly here is 200 bomb threats. We don't know the purpose of the bomb threats. It could be to scare people. It could be to do something during the evacuations. It could be just to cause general issues. We don't know, but there were 200 bomb threats around the country. They didn't have any in my area, but I know Pennsylvania had a lot of them. 70% of the voting equipment was compromised. That's what I was talking about with the de minimis updates that are not checked. So they just go, we want to do this minor update so we don't have to check it, just so we can expedite it. But again, to do this kind of manipulation, it doesn't require a lot of code. For those who don't know, I've been doing websites and front-end development for a very long time. Let's just say, very long time. All 7 swing states won by one party and all outside the recount margins. So the reason it happened so fast is none of the states triggered an automatic recount because the vote was just enough. It was just enough over, right? And all the counties that flipped were to the, I'm sorry, didn't mean to hit that, were to the red, to the Trump county. There's something like 3,800 counties that moved moved right. And like I think it was under 100 that moved left. I think it was like 80. Right, left, sorry. I should have choose red and blue. I'm very tired. I was up at 3 a.m. with Josh trying to fix some things. So anyway, that's a massive number. So the other thing we've seen is it's not just the swing states that show manipulation, it just shows the most manipulation. So I call it the narcissist ballot. He wanted to win the popular vote over 50% as well as the swing states. So they manipulated it all over the country. That's why there's 3,800 and some change that moved right and only 80 that moved left. The 2 states that showed no change to right were Utah and Washington. Washington does all hand ballots. And so we think that there's possibly they could not manipulate that. And Utah, it's hard to tell because Utah is not pro-Trump. So, but the Mormon groups are not pro-Trump. And then the other thing is 80% of these machines are owned by 2 companies, these tabulator machines, ES&S and Dominion. So there is a chance if you had 70% of the voting equipment updated with a little bit of code and a de minimis update, that could happen. Now, I'm not saying that's how it happened. I've been around hackers long enough and go to enough talks about hacking, and I'm always surprised what someone was able to do, right? But I am saying that it is very possible. So when people say, It's not possible because voting machines are so secure because they're handled by the states and they're also different and they're loaded different. That is all true. The problem is 2 companies update the software. 2 companies update the tabulators. 1 company supplies all the power. They have USB ports, and those USB ports are hackable. If you ever go to an airport and they go, don't use the public power, don't use those USBs, don't plug it into someone's plug, those are hackable. So the USBs are also hackable. I'm not saying that's where it happened, but I'm just saying there are easy Occam razors ways that this could have happened that don't require 1,000 people knowing about it and all this intricacy and complexity. It could just be that simple. Also, we know that Trump had access to the voting software for the Dominion machines for 2 years after the case that they had against Dominion software. There were, I think it was 10 or 12 election academics, PhDs in election integrity and statisticians sent a letter back in November, the free speech people. They have it published on their website about the fact that Harris should have an automatic audit because they believed it's possible the election was compromised. So there's a lot of ways that could have happened. So when someone says there's no way it could happen, it's just absolutely untrue. So there's 7 swing states, and he won 30 of the 50 states, and a large enough margin for no, as we already said, no recount laws. And last time this was Reagan. Actually, they found out after they produced this, because I have access to an older copy, forgot this was in here. Actually, it wasn't Reagan, because they're one of the states we call a swing state now. It wasn't a swing state then. So actually, the last time was Roosevelt, where this happened.
Wow.
Yeah, and then here's the voting technology.
My goodness. Christine, my goodness.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry. Can you hear me? I'm almost done.
Yes.
The voting technology. Here's the two brands and all the states that they're located in. The Dominion and the SNS. And then here's where the 88 counties flipped Democrat. Here's the different one. We were talking about precincts before. I'm sorry. This is counties. So 88 counties flipped. Also, 88 is a very significant number. If somebody wants to go look it up, I don't want to talk about it here, but it does have certain connotations.
Yes.
88 flipped red and 0 flipped blue. The last time this also happened was 100 years ago with Franklin Delano Roosevelt. Even when Ronald Reagan ran 49 of the 50 states, 30 still flipped for Mondale. So basically, there's a lot of a lot of statistics, a lot of data that shows that there's a lot of non-human voting behaviors in the tabulator data and in the voting data. And so the best way to find out what really happened is to audit the elections with hand audits of ballots. We can't do images of ballots. We can't check those because there is a software out there. We don't know that it was used, but Musk's boys for Doge, who have Russian hacking ties, they did a hackathon in 2021 or 2022. They did 2. They created something called ballot proof. It was supposed to be about checking ballots to make sure they're accurate, but it can change paper ballot. Like when you take your paper ballot and put it in the scanner, it can change them. It can add ballots just if it has a name. I read the code README file. And so it's very easy to change or to alter elections if that was to get into the system. Now, I'm not saying it did, but I am saying that now, if we know, remember they said they didn't want anybody to do mail-in vote, just electronic. And then they switched now and they're like, oh no, we want mail-in vote. So, just be aware and be careful that there is a possibility that can be hacked if they can get that into the system. And I'll just tell anybody out there, because Musk said it, anything can be hacked. I've sat in talks where air-gapped computers were hacked. Anything can be hacked. Anything can be affected. They just have to have enough money, the type of hacker that can do it, and the access to get into the system. And the hackers that they would be using would be of the scale of nation state hackers for Russia, that kind of level of hacker. And just for people to remember, those are the people that got inside like Iran's nuclear system. Those are the people that made like the Israeli Mossad made the phones blow up in people's pockets. This is child's play compared to what the hackers at that level can do. So anyway.
Wow.
So,
how is that for being schooled on some receipts, y'all? That is thank you so much, Christine.
sorry. Nathan can't talk about a lot of that because he has to be completely
Right.
nonpartisan. And
Right. Yeah.
when I
But
was
it's
ETA, I did, but I don't have to be anymore. So
right. Right. We've got some questions here. What if I live in a place like Texas where it's completely corrupt to speak up about the data and things? That's a great. That's a
yeah.
great question. It's that's what we are saying. It is a hard voice or stance to take. And it has been up to this point, but now because it is more in the ether, it is in this conversation, both online, inside, and also outside. And it's important that the way that we make that normal, I mean, like I said in the beginning, is to really wear the shirt and show the sign outside to start the conversation in your own community, in your own locality. That is not, and we sit here saying that is not an easy thing to do, but it is easier now than it has ever been. And I was just going to show an asset that we have on our website now, and we're going to call it the receipt of the week, right? The receipt of the week, and it has to do with Clark County. And this is what it looks like if you go to our website. We've got let's see, right there on the front page, we have something that shows where you can join the movement, or the first banner that you see on the front page there, you guys, is that there's a place for the receipt. Christine, yeah. So there's a receipt of the week here that will show in receipt form about Clark County, what we talked about today. So we're going to be adding those things as we move forward, and you can use that on your phone. You can put that on your social, your next social post or your content. Use our resources. We're going to be using that on she-1.com, which will take you to leagueofcoalitions.us and so much more. We wanted to answer any other questions. I don't know if we've got any
can I
others
jump
that are
in
coming
there
through.
just real quick?
Yes,
on that,
yes.
Josh. So just so people know, you are the influencer in your own world, right? Your friends take your information over even the right-wing propaganda. So by sharing just facts and information, that can be super helpful. Also, just calling your representatives and pressuring them is also helpful. Believe it or not, they actually do listen. Going to protests when you can. If you're not able to do so, then share the protest videos so people see that they're occurring. And the other thing would be to find people in your area. Remember, you may perceive you live in a very red state because of the gerrymandering. But if you look at like Houston, Texas, one of the biggest counties in the, around there in the country, you'll find that most of it's blue, like it's 55-60% blue. But the problem is they draw the districts in a way that it gives it to the Republican. So you have all Republican representatives, but you actually are a blue area. North Carolina is 55% Democrat or blue or left leaning, but they were losing everything till this last election because of that same thing. Also, one thing in Texas, if you're there and listening right now, they're about to do something to try to steal the election. They're about to ask to redraw your districts right now. So you only redraw the districts every 10 years. And the legislatures do that. That's why it's so important to vote at the lower levels, because when the legislatures draw them up, you don't want them to be crooked Republicans. Like most Democrats just want an independent group to do it, right? They don't ask to do it for their side. They just try to make sure it's even and fair. But they're going to try to redraw them right now. So right now, start making calls to your local representatives. Start showing up at protests. Start writing letters. Find other people on mobilize.us. They'll show you events that are happening near you. Some are virtual. So if you're afraid to go out in public, because there are people around you, like where I live, Proud Boys who carry guns and stuff. But there's all sorts of ways you can be active without having to be up front if that's not something you're ready to do. But if you're ready to do it, get a shirt like Josh said. And I'll let you in a little secret. I hate to bring up the MAGA people, but you know why they got the red hats? Why they originally did that? Well, so everyone would ask them what it meant. And that's how they could spread the word. So if you're wearing the paraphernalia, go ahead and wear the paraphernalia. Like Josh said, she won. What does that mean? And you can explain these things to them. So.
Yes, we have to normalize it. The money word is organize and mobilize and normalize, those IZE terms. We've got time for one more question. I don't know if we've got one in the queue. We've got time for one more. And while we're looking for that, Just wanted to share, we sent, if you're signed up and you go to she-one.com and sign up to join the movement, you'll find out ways that we will be developing and sharing all of the things that we can do to make this voice louder. And you are part of that in your location, in your circle of influence, in your conversation over dinner tonight. Bring this up. Bring it up. Bring the she one of it all up. I want to share this. Christine, if you could help us with the, I'm going to...
They already analyzed the ones that the votes that have occurred recently. I'm not sure if you mean in the run up to. They probably wouldn't be doing that because they're doing data analysis on post votes, but they probably will do some of the early elections, and they will be following to make sure that they're not still trying to steal it. Also, they are sharing this data with other academics. The biggest problem for academics is to clean the data. So they've cleaned a lot of the data so that they can share it with journalists or academics. So if you're a journalist or academic out there that wants to do the analysis, contact Nathan at the ETA and he'll help you get that information.
Yes. ElectionTruthAlliance.org. What we're sharing, folks, is public information. This is not in an archive. These are not secret receipts. We're sharing that so you can turn it into your own receipt. This is an us thing. It's going to take all of us and all of us now, the NOW, and owning OWN, the NOW. It has to happen now. We do not have all the time in the world. We do not have another next time, you guys. So the urgency of this cannot be overstated. It cannot be more exaggerated than now. Also, if you do sign up on the Join the Movement, you'll learn in our correspondences, in our weekly newsletters. We're going to try to really do that. We already sent out one today to tell folks about tonight, and it shows things like this, different places near you tomorrow. The Good Trouble lives on. Show up with your signs, even if you have to make it up tonight. And all of the messaging is on the website. There's She Won. There's hashtag verify the vote. There is audit their asses. There is just to get people to pay attention. These loud voices, these loud statements are part of the She Won movement. We have to say it loud. We have to make it now, loud now, and all about everywhere that you are on your socials, on your next step outside into a protest space. This has to be introduced there because the media, they cannot avoid this much longer, and we are seeing that seep in, and now it's permeating through that media barrier, that mainstream media barrier. We've heard some things on the inside about, Joy Ann Reed was popped into a podcast a couple of other days ago with the Reverend Mark Thompson, and Nathan was on there. Nathan didn't even know that she was going to be on, but Joy Ann Reed, y'all know what a force she is, and getting it to people like that we are in the atmosphere, and we have to completely carry it through. We have to be carriers of the word. This is good trouble. Let me tell you what, this is good. These receipts are good trouble. And if you check out on our website, we'll have this up about where you can go to your local protests. We've got the major markets here, but just look on places like Mobilize, and we're going to be talking with Mobilize folks tomorrow to get ourselves more mobilized in the She Won movement. But just we want to provide you any tool possible. We are an open book. Email us at info@leagueofcoalitions.us or She Won, just those two words, at leagueofcoalitions.us, and we will not be shy. We will reach back out to you because we need your help. This is going to take all of us. We need people in your city, in your location, if you want to talk about the business, but in your market, big and small. We have got to get this out there, and that's how we are doing it. Is equipping you, informing you, and then encouraging you, mobilizing you, organizing you. We need it. That's what grassroots is. And this particular grassroots movement and this moment is one that is not out there. This is one that has been underrepresented, if at all represented. And that's why we are saying the urgency, the immediacy of this, you all, is She Won, She Won, She Won. Shout it, print it, wear it. All of the above, and yes, the more you can put it in your social media content, when you get into that swing of that algorithm, you'll see how many people are talking about it and but we are not the minority here. And yes, these are facts. Yes, these are figures that we are translating and calling receipts. But there's something that resounds when like that video that we showed earlier, like, don't forget that hope and that joy that what we all live through. That is not hyperbole. That is fact. That is proof in your inside of all of us, that hope that is reactivated, that joy that should not have been stolen, that still is ours, that Kamala Harris is our president. Let me say that real good into the camera in case you all want to clip it. Kamala Devi Harris is our president. On November the 6th, our vote for her was stolen. It was compromised. It was manipulated. And I'm not afraid to say it. I open up every conversation and interview or whatever with that because it has to be normalized. And I'm not afraid to look crazy. I'm not afraid to shout that truth because it is the truth. The election truth, the ultimate election truth, y'all, is that she won, right? Right? Can I get an amen here? That is the ultimate election truth. That is the reason for the receipts that we are bringing, the facts, the figures that we are putting down in paper form or in the way that we speak to people, or even if you had to make yourself up a little script with some talking points, we'll help you out with that too. This is it's a new movement, but is it a movement that it's a new movement on its face, like here visibly and visually and vocally, but in our own minds, it's not. This is not new. We know the truth here. We know the ultimate election truth, and that Kamala Harris is our president. Kamala Harris is our president, along with Vice President Walz, all of that. And this is what helps me get through it and helps me justify my voice and being loud. And I will repeat this through every podcast or interview that we have, is that all of this, just let this resonate just a second. And I know we've been gone a while here, a little over an hour and 15, 20 minutes. So thank you for hanging with us. But this is important. This is every single illegal ICE confiscation or kidnapping, every cabinet appointment, every executive order is fundamentally false, fictitious, and phony, because he is not the rightful winner, y'all. It's heavy, it's awful, but really, it's really all fake. It's really all so unnecessary, but we're having to go through it because it was stolen. Our vote was compromised, was manipulated, was stolen, was taken from us. That is why we are in this. And there are only a couple of ways that we can get out of this. And the reason that we are screaming about these receipts and the she one of it all is that is one of the ways that we, the people, can organize and mobilize quickly, expediently, with immediacy, to take back our democracy, our vote. The vote is the crux, the premise, the foundation of a democracy is our vote, is our voice as we the people. And the She Won movement, the She Won campaign is all about that, bringing that lever, pushing that button, the one, one of the only things that's left for us to act on and to use as we the people. And we will be bringing that to you. I just wanted to show you this from, I don't think I can get it on there, maybe. Yes, this picture from downtown Los Angeles. That's when we launched on July the 4th. And this lady here in the middle just said, "Hey, give me one of those T-shirts." She said, I want to be a part of this movement. That's how magnetic it is, because it is the truth. And the truth is contagious, especially when it resounds inside of all of us, the truth that we knew from the very beginning, that she won. And I just wanted to share this before we go. And it was a video that was taken downtown when we launched officially in the first city of Los Angeles. And it was the midst, y'all, of all of the ICE, the theater, really, it's horrible, but it was, we were being represented to the rest of the country and the world as like these riots and all of these, Democrats and all the minorities, especially anything that was non-white, non-male, non-Christian, and everything that was beyond that was being demonized here, and that was so not the case. But we went down on July the 4th and sat on the City Hall steps and put our sign up here. And Christine, if you can help me, it's the last video that was uploaded here, and we can show that as we close.
Hey everybody, I wanted to come up and explain just a little bit about what we have on the steps here today. My name is Josh. I'm from League of Coalitions, and we are launching a national campaign. I want to ask you this question. How many of you woke up on November the 6th and said something just ain't right? Anybody here? I'm here to tell you, not just a hyperbole, not just as my own opinion, that you, all of us, are not crazy. As we stand here today, we are launching our nationwide She Won campaign, and what that means is this. We are coming with receipts. The receipts, the numbers do not lie, y'all. We have a team of expert statisticians, data analysts, people who have been breaking this information down step by step since this happened in November. And what I can tell you now is this week, we are launching the She Won campaign nationally with the fucking receipts. We have all been, it's kind of been like this kind of thing, right? Like, and we've been talking about it in our socials, or in our on social media, in our own circles, about and it's coming through to the conversation now, more out in the atmosphere. It's in independent media, not so much in the mainstream media. We're trying to get there. What we need you to do is have that conversation. It's inside. We need to take this voice that she won, that Kamala Devi Harris is our president, and the rightful winner should be installed. We need to take that voice outside, here in the streets. That's why we are here. So we are launching this national campaign in markets like downtown Los Angeles, Atlanta, New York City, Washington, D.C., all across the nation this week. If you want to sign up and be a part of this, to get this voice, this very important voice, our way out, because she is the rightful winner, and they stole something from us, y'all. They stole your vote, they stole your voice, they're stealing your freedom, they're stealing your choices, but they cannot steal your power. Right? So if you want to join with us, we're going to have a coalition here in Los Angeles. We're going to be meeting next week. A She Won campaign. You can sign up. At she-one.com. Join the movement. We'll let you know what's happening. And the truth will set us free.
So, yeah, that was just an introduction to folks, and you could just hear in the atmosphere that this is not a hard sell, because it's the truth, and the truth will set us free. That's the only chain-breaking, life-changing, world and planet-saving device that we have is the truth, the election truth of She Won. So we just encourage you, and we thank you for joining us today and hanging through all of our bells and whistles, trying to get those adjusted. We're learning as we go. Thank you guys for being so faithful and joining us and tuning in, and share and continue to share this, and come and sign up at she-one.com. And we are in this together. We need each other. We need the now of this, the necessity of this, and that we are platforming, we are shouting, we are screaming now in the open space, now in the protest space, and into the streets. And we need you to do it. The truth, the ultimate election truth of She Won. Thank you, guys. We'll see you soon.